Before we get started, let's go over some of the tools and equipment that I like to use from start to finish. You'll see them in use as we do them. But for the wheel and tire cleaner, I like the Adams wheel and tire cleaner. It cleans the wheels, it cleans the tires. It's super efficient. You can do exhaust tips. So what I normally like to do is I like to pour this in my dedicated wheel and tire bucket, which is here, and it has all my tools. I use this for the barrel. I use the Adams brush for the tire. I use the wheel brush for the wheels, the lug nut brush for the lug nuts, and then I also like to go after it with the dedicated wash mitt for the rims and tires. So I usually mix a little bit of Adams in there, and then I use deionized water to fill the bucket up to the top. So moving on to the first set, it's going to be the rinse. So I use the Carbon Collective, and this is going to be the Ultimate Snow Foam. And it's, if you read the back, it's super concentrated, so you want to use something small. I use 50 milliliters, as you can see in there. So I'll fill the foam cannon up. I have a dedicated foam cannon for the foam and one for the wash. So MTM Hydro PF 22.2. So I'll just fill this up 3/4 of the way, 750 milliliters or so. It's marked on the side. Not sure if you can see it, but I'll fill that up, and then I'll add, with my beaker, I'll add 50 milliliters of the snow foam, and that is more than enough. For the soap side of the house, I have a second PF 22.2. This one's I've already filled up, so I apologize on there. And for that, it's a similar process. I use a little bit less because this is shampoo. So I use the Carbon Collective Lusso shampoo. And if you read the directions on here, it's very small, 10 to 20 milliliters. So I'll use 20 milliliters into 3/4 of the PF 22.2 foam cannon. So once I do that, I'll go over with the citrus cleanser. And this is kind of just to get like any debris. If you have like bugs, tar, road grime, etc., I would spray this after the foam. So I'll walk you through that process now, but for the most part, these are the products that I'm going to be using. One thing to note, the car is ceramic coated. So it's ceramic coated, it's paint corrected, ceramic coated. Same for the wheels, the calipers and whatnot. So making this process is a lot easier. However, if your car is not ceramic coated, you would repeat the process. It would just take a little bit more time. So let's get the buckets filled up and I'll be right back. All right, so I got the buckets filled up. I got my containers filled up with the wheel and tire cleaner, my dedicated foam, and my dedicated wash foam cannons. Let's talk about some of the products. Let's circle back real quick because I'm going to do something later that might not make sense. So let's cover it now so you guys are aware. For starters, the Carbon Collective Ultimate Snow Foam. This is Detail Division. I think they're the only ones in the US that can get this for you. So if you're interested, I'll link the products below. Yeah, the Carbon Collective Snow Foam. This is a pH neutral soap. It's good on all coatings, ceramic coatings. If the car's wrapped, if you have like a one-off candy paint, whatever you name it, this is good. So same as your citrus cleaner and your Lusso shampoo. So Carbon Collective is a UK brand. They're new to the US. They're kind of a top tier, so like professional kind of products, but they're really good. So just keep that in mind, because for the snow foam, I actually let this dwell for about 10 minutes. And the reason being is, before I tell you that, let's back up a little bit and let's explain, let's walk to the car and let's explain what we are trying to accomplish. So as you can see, the car is super, super dirty right now. Basically by doing, once we rinse the car off, we're going to want to foam it and let it dwell. And basically what the foam does is going to get rid of any kind of like loose dirt. Rinsing the car gets rid of loose dirt. Foaming it kind of takes whatever dust is on there and then carries it away. Then we'll rinse that off again. We'll spray it, we'll foam it again, but this time we'll use the soap. So, and I'll walk you through this step by step, but yeah, we'll use the soap. And the idea is we don't want to touch this car. The less we have to touch it, the less chances we have of scratching it. So we do this process to hopefully get about 85 to 90% of all dirt, and grime removed. And that way we only have to go back with that 10%. We're trying to minimize swirl marks, even if your car's ceramic coating. If you're using the wrong tools, the wrong kind of towels, you can definitely scratch the car up and it'll look just like it did before you got it coated. So keep that in mind. I wanted to explain that to you because, like I said, this car's ceramic coating and we're looking at paint protection. We have to be mindful of what products we select. So with that said, let's go through the motions. Okay, before we get started on the wheels, let's talk about the water and the setup. Water quality is key. Oh, got a small leak here. I could probably just loose. Okay, so water quality is key when you're washing a car. So this is tap water. It's usually dirty, meaning it has a high parts per million of contaminants, and you don't want that to happen. So there's chemicals in the water that they use to treat it, and that goes on your car. So what I did is I got a deionized setup. So basically the water comes in from the tap, and when I measured it, it was 222 parts per million, and coming out of here, I think I had like 10 or 11 parts per million. So it's a huge difference. It's not perfect, but it's substantial. So basically the top water is going to go through here. This is a DI tank which got a sediment bed of different materials. Think of it as a filter, and it removes all like the harsh chemicals, makes the water kind of like pH, it balances out. So it's going to come through the sediment bed, come back up here, out, which I have it plumbed, and it into my pressure washer. So this is a Kranzla with total stop. You squeeze the trigger, it's on. You let go, the trigger's off. So it'll come in the pressure washer. Basically, clean water comes out here. It'll come out the pressure washer into my Cox hose reel, and then I have a Cobra Jet hose that runs all the way out to the car and allows me to wash around it. So basically I'm putting clean water out to the car. If you don't have clean water, it's not the biggest deal. It's not kind of the end of the world. You can still wash your car. You just have to be mindful that there's going to be some additional work required on the back end. So meaning the car will need to be dried properly, etc. With that said, hopefully you guys understand the process so far. If you don't, just kind of comment down below, and I'll be happy to kind of explain as best as I can. So let's go ahead and get back into the wheels. So first things I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the wheels and exhaust tip. So this wheel and tire cleaner, there's two ways of doing this. You can either hose the wheel off and put the wheel and tire cleaner and let it sit for a few minutes. You don't want it to dry. So it's kind of cloudy, it's sunny, it's cloudy. So I'll leave it on there. I would like to do 2 wheels at a time. So I'll spray this wheel, spray the wheel and tire cleaner, spray this wheel, wheel and tire cleaner, come back, clean this wheel, rinse, and work my way around the car. So let's go ahead and do that real time, see what that looks like. All right, so as mentioned, I'm going to start with wetting the first 2 wheels. I'm going to use the pump sprayer, which pressurizes the wheel and tire. And then I'm going to spray the wheels and go through with my dedicated wheel brush and do those. So let's see what that looks like. So we'll let this sit for a few minutes. Eventually it'll start to what we call bleed out. It'll start turning yellowish and drip down. So I'll let that sit for a minute, and then I'll come through with my dedicated wheel brush and start cleaning that. All right, so it's been sitting about a minute. The first thing I like to do is it's got a soft bristle on here, so don't worry about scratching your wheels. I'm going to take in and do the barrel brush. I like this brush because for the Z01s it gets behind the calipers. Those are 6 pistons and they're kind of big, so it's effortless. So it's been sitting for about a minute. I'll just come in here and work my way in with the back of the barrels in between the spokes. And once I'm done with that, I'll take I like to get my lug nut brush here, just dip it in the water and just come in lightly, agitate it. Doesn't need much. I also use it to do the calipers in here. Just be kind of gentle. You just hit the wheels. It's not the end of the world. Just try to be careful. Remember, we've already baked this and let it sit for a while, so it shouldn't be too hard to come off. And then once I'm done, I'll take my. Once I'm done there, I'll just take my wheel brush and just kind of get the rims in here, get all the spokes. And then finally go back with the wash mitt. Try to get behind the spokes when you use the wash mitt best as possible. Get behind it. If you miss a spot, it's not the end of the world. I'll show you why shortly. We're essentially going to wash these wheels multiple times, so it's really not the end of the world. Once I'm done with my rims, I'll come through the tire brush and just lightly hit the tires. And we'll repeat that process for the rear wheels. All right, so it's been about 5 minutes now with the wheels and tire cleaner on there. I'm going to go ahead and remove it just using the water. So as you can see, it's already done just by rinsing the wheels. They're pretty clean. If I miss some spots, not a big deal. I'll show you why here shortly. So while I was doing that, I kind of soaked the exhaust tips, and I'm going to clean those and work my way to this side and repeat that process. So let's do that now. One thing to note is if you have an NPP, so dual mode exhaust with the Sport Tour track where it changes mode, be mindful when you clean the outer exhaust tips. So I just kind of lightly come in here and agitate it. I try not to get too close to the valve. If you can see from in there, the valve actually, it's relatively close. So I just want to go in about that much of the brush. You can see I'm hitting it there, so I just kind of back off a little bit. Lightly scrub here. This one doesn't matter because there's no valve, but still just be gentle with the brush. Same thing on this side here. Just be careful. Light agitation. My exhaust tips are ceramic coated as well, so they're easier to clean, but still. Yeah, and then I will go around later and do the outsides, but just wanted to highlight that really quick. I got the wheels pretty clean just with the wheel and tire cleaner. You can see about 85 to 90% of the gunk comes off. What we're going to do now is we're going to use the DI rinse and rinse the car off, get all of this stuff off the car. Then we're going to go ahead and foam it with the Foam Cannon shampoo. Let that dwell. Carbon Collective snow foam has a long dwell time, and that's really good because it absorbs all the dirt and kind of drips it down. So you'll see that shortly. So you want to dwell that for about average, they say 5 minutes because it's a cloudy day. I usually let it do 10. I find best results when I let the foam dwell for 10 minutes. So yeah, let's rinse the car now, and we're going to foam it and we'll let it dwell for that. The idea is knock off loose dirt, foam it, let it sit. As the foam is sitting, is going to capture all of these particles out of the dirt kind of grind here and just kind of absorb them and slowly drip them down. So that's kind of the goal. That's why we want to foam the car. Again, the less we touch the car, the better. So this is going to be super helpful in doing that. When you guys foam, try to get a sequence. I usually start, I'll do the sides or whatever side's facing the sun. Get all the top off, work your way towards the bottom. So get a sequence, do the roof, the trunk, the head, wrap yourself around. As far as Foam Cannon, I like to use the white tip, so it's a 40-degree angle, I believe. In terms of the pressure washer, I have this one. Okay, so it's a good thing that I rinse this off, and what I want to show you is I'm going to use the Carbon Collective, the citrus cleaner, and this is going to get like hard debris. So once you rinse the car off, you can kind of see like just kind of butt try here. So I'll just give it a light little dab on the hard spots here. Just bird droppings. I had some tire chunks kind of back here, just in this area, and just kind of lightly. Couple sprays. This is where my decals were, my number. So just like the hard areas. Here, bugs. So anywhere you see the front's probably going to use a little. This is also super concentrating on probably using too much, but it's okay. Smells really good, smells like orange. So just kind of walk around the car after you rinse it and before you foam it. So this spot, if it gets on gloss, doesn't matter. It's gonna be okay. Tire chunks where my decals were in this area here, here. So yeah, walk around the car and do that, and then we can go ahead and foam the car. So I think I got everything. Nope. There we go. Okay, so basically what I did here is I got my foam cannon and I kind of went over the car. I'm gonna get to the back, same pattern, and we're gonna let that dwell for 10 minutes. Let me walk it back up. So what I did there is towards the end, I started running out of foam. So I just kind of run clean water through it, and what that does it prevents this from clogging up, from the soap drying into all the orifice. So do that, you should be good in between washes. So we're gonna let this sit for about 10 minutes. And see what it does. If you're in direct sunlight, do not let it dry on the car. So. All right, so once again, got the whole car foamed, Carbon Collective. We don't want to let this dry on the car, but you can already see, I had camera issues, it wasn't recording for the first couple minutes, but you can already see how it's starting to grab all this dirt here and slowly trickle it down. That's what we want. That's what we want to see. That's when we have this big foam. At times you'll see this will turn yellow, it'll get dirty, and it'll slowly trickle down. It all depends on how dirty the car is. One thing that I did wanted to cover is the wheels. Remember earlier I said we don't really care about if we miss the spot, and the reason is because we're going to come back here with the foam and get the wheels again with soap. All right, and then once we rinse the car off, we're going to go back with the shampoo and we're going to repeat this process. So essentially we are washing the wheels 1, 2, at least 3 times, sometimes even 4. So I already started a timer. I'm at 3 minutes now with the foam. You can just see it slowly dripping everything down, capturing all the dirt, and it'll slowly break it down and come down to the floor. So that's what we want. That's what we want to see. I also have the citrus cleaner on the bottom, which is kind of a bug remover. It's just a cleaner, so you don't have to touch hard surfaces or surfaces that are bird poop or droppings or grime, whatever. You just spray it on there, spray the foam on there, let it dwell together all the way down. So that's the idea behind this. Again, the rims are getting cleaned again. So the roof starting to absorb here, glass. So we'll set this for a little while longer and I'll come back. You can kind of see this side is it's starting to get yellow. Again, I was at the track this weekend, so all the rubber and stuff coming back, you can see that's why that area is pretty dirty. So it's collecting here and it's just gonna come drizzle down. So that's why we want to foam the car. That's why we want to wait that dwell time, because it's going to help us wash the car and it's going to help us kind of not touch it as much. All right, so it's been 10 minutes now. My timer just went off, but you can see most of the stuff has been dwindled down. Most of the dirt has been captured from the top and moved down from the bottom. So we'll just go around the car. It's still thick. The foam is still thick. It's still sudsy, which is good. Sorry, still has suds. You can see where it's coming down. You can see where the dirt kind of comes to the bottom. This car is not dirty, so it's not a good example. I mean, it is dirty, but it's not like filthy. It's coated, so most of that stuff is going to come right off. So let's go ahead and foam this bad boy off and go with the shampoo. Had some camera issues. Hopefully you guys caught that last foam. If you didn't, basically I foamed the car down and let it dry. Now I'm gonna go ahead with the soap. Normally I would, if I was okay, I'd leave the car and dry it. It's about 90% clean, but because I was at the track this weekend, there's still like some small debris here that didn't come off. The citrus did the job. It did what it's supposed to do. But again, it's not perfect. I was at the track, so there's a lot of rubber, there's a lot of little debris that's kind of caked into the paint. So like here, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and shampoo the car with my separate kind of foam cannon. You don't have to have two, you can share them. For me, it's just easier just to swap out and put it in. So let's go ahead, set it up, do that now. So with this, I usually let it sit for a minute. As you can see, it's rich, it's nice and silky. Got the foam, got the wheels cleaned. When scrubbing the car, we have to be very mindful of what we use because we can actually scratch it. So, not that I'm sponsored, I don't do anything, I buy everything retail, but this is a nice microfiber wash mitt from Detail Division, and it's made specifically for this. If you don't have your car ceramic coated, it's fine. What I do is I do a section at a time. So a panel, I'll kind of start with this panel here, dip it in, next panel, dip it in, and work my way around the car. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and work my way around the car and come back. All right, so I went ahead, got the soap on, scrubbed the car. Now it's time to the drying phase. You can see the car has a 180 difference, and the wheels have been washed at this point 3 times. So now we put this away, we roll up the hose, and we get the dryer. So this air cannon is really good. The way it works is there's a filter up here. It heats up the air and it blows it onto the car. It's got a 30-foot hose. It's got a wall mount. It's very nice. It's very clean. If your car is ceramic coated, it would come off that fast. I know Adams makes one. I believe this is a Master Blaster that I have. Don't quote me on that name. But yeah, now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and dry the car. So the car's pretty much done. The last thing we're going to do is I'm going to use the tire shine here because it's dry. You can also use gum and tar remover or the citrus cleaner from Carbon Collective that I used earlier to kind of get around the edge of the tire if you want. But I just do a couple sprays here and then start on the, this is a water-based product and it dries to the touch. So if you get some on the rim, it's not the biggest, it's not the end of the world. I'm kind of doing horrible here. Running out of time, but basically repeat that process for all 4 wheels. Yeah, repeat that process for all 4 wheels. And then once it dries, you're good. You can take off and dry. It's a water-based product. So let me go around and do the other wheels. All right, so it is dry to the touch that fast. End result is here. This is what the car looks like once it's done. Night and day difference. Notice I did very minimal scrubbing. If you use the proper techniques, that's actually a hard spot from the track this weekend, so that's not coming off, unfortunately. But yeah, it's all about using the right tools. I'm gonna go over it and hit any last spots. There's still some spots that, you know, like soap spots and stuff, like down here, you know what I mean, little areas. So for that, I use a nice towel, GSM towel 350 or above, and just use waterless wash. And same thing on the bottom of the side skirts. But for the most part, it's done. It's solid. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you learned something. If not, let me know. I'll do my best to either give you the answer or point you in the right direction. Comment down below if you learned something. Your gloves messed up, but I'm done, so it's okay. Comment down below if you learned something. Like, subscribe, and share. I think all in all, for a normal wash in between, not a full-on detail, that's an excellent job. It should take you about an hour to do that, to an hour and 20 minutes, no more. I was a little bit slower because I have to kind of walk you through the process individual steps. But once that's done, it should be straightforward and it should be good to go. You should be out of it down in no time. So yeah, let me know what you think. If you guys got questions, comment down below. Let me know. This video is way overdue. I apologize. I thank you guys for the support that you guys give me buying on the store. I'll link the products down below and stay tuned for more videos, more events. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great day.